Agriculture on the move.
Agricole mouvement.
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 Good day, said Lucia, and welcome to the program, Agriculture on the Move. I am Phillip Sydney, your host. Today we are discussing apiculture, basically honey production. And without further ado, I will introduce you to the people who will be discussing what surrounds the honey production in St. Lucia. To my immediate right is Mr. John Edward, who is the Mille Honey Producers Cooperative Society, farmers producers, and also Mr. Marcus Denis, who is a livestock officer in the Ministry of Agriculture, who is also the Apiculture Officer attached to the Ministry of Agriculture. Welcome, my guest, to the program.
Thank you very much,
Mr. John Edwards, tell us, as Edward,
yes,
as president of, it's a new executive you all have now.
Yes.
Okay. Tell us a bit the composition of your executive, and also give us a little background into you all moving into a new year. What's your program like?
Okay, on July 9th, 2014, we had our AGM, and that's why I became the president of the Mille Honey Producers Cooperative Society, which has been around for quite a while now. Mille was registered with government in 1986, and we have been around for that long. The new executive consists of myself as president, Christian Brong as vice president, Kwesi Goddard as secretary, Brother Edwin as treasurer, Brother William Antoine as PRO, and Jamel Cox as assistant PRO. We have Sylvia Jeffrey as assistant secretary, and we have two floor representatives.
Okay.
Yes.
So tell us, since you have come in to, with your new executive, I'm sure you have a planned program ahead of you. Just give us a little idea of what's planned.
Well, for example, I did not hit the ground running with my own planned program, although I do have one. But when I became president, I came at the time where a project was already in operation, and the project is supposed to be ending in December 2014. Okay. So there was no need to disturb what was already happening. So I just had to follow and continue, because the project is a very good project. Okay. Sponsored by Jeff, which is Global Environmental Facility. Okay. Yeah. Great.
Marcus, from the ministry's perspective, what has been, the ministry's role thus far with the Mille honey producers?
Well, I mean, we must only talk about Mille honey producers. We must just talk about beekeepers and the entire beekeeper. Yeah. Okay. Well, the ministry role is that in the past 5 years, we haven't had enough honey on the island. So one of the major roles of my department is to see how best we can increase production and to try to get more people involved in honey production. So far, over the last 2 years, we have we have about 100 new persons in honey production.
Okay. So are you saying what would have caused that drop in production?
Well, what caused that drop in production is basically we had a problem with varroa mite, which is a mite that feed off the bee or live off the bee, basically. And that have caused tremendous decline over a number of years. But from about 2004, I believe most farmers have gained confidence in the management of the mite. Although before that we lost about half of the beekeepers because of the mite. They couldn't manage it, and some of them were older persons, and they left honey production.
Okay. So you're saying right now that problem, you are over that problem?
We are over that problem.
So you're saying that the varroa mites is eradicated?
It's not eradicated, but it's manageable.
Manageable.
Right.
You know.
So your members are satisfied with what's happening with the management of the mite?
They are satisfied, and at present we have a section of beekeepers that are using one specific method, which is the apis and strip. And you have other beekeepers, for example, you have farmers with disability in Choiseul, and they are using natural methods.
Okay.
And even the BAM project that I mentioned a while ago, there is a component where beekeepers are advised to allow the bees to build its own resistance against the mite. So you treat, but at the same time you don't treat without experimenting whether the bees are able to resist on their own.
Okay.
You understand? So whereas some farmers are using the apis and strips, some are using natural means. Because, for example, you have bees in the wild, and they don't get the kind of attention that bees in an apiary within a beekeeper setting, and those bees survive in one way or the other. We don't know, so we always allow for them to build their own resistance.
Okay.
Yeah.
What sort of training component you have from the ministry's perspective for, say, potential beekeepers and also for the present beekeepers?
Usually we have maybe about 2 training sessions annually. All right. For potential beekeepers, you find it's a little difficult to train one person. So what we try to do is when we get potential persons, we try to group them up and then have one session for as many persons as possible. In terms of existing beekeepers, as I said, we do about 1 or 2 sessions a year, but most of the beekeepers know how to manage the bees for honey production.
Okay.
I mean, if there is any new information to be passed on, then we have sessions to pass it on. But general management, most of the beekeepers, I'm satisfied with most of the beekeepers' management skills.
Okay. Mr. Edward, I know the ministry also is working along with you all in terms of housing you all in a particular location.
Yes.
I know the Mabia Valley was a particular structure was identified.
Yes.
I know they're supposed to have done some work on that structure. Give us an update on that.
Well, at present, there is a building in the Mabia Valley area. That building is, I think, the Fair Trade building. I would just use it for the short description for a while. The Fair Trade building. And we have already signed an agreement with the Ministry of Agriculture that that building, a section of that building, which covers about 3,600 square feet, will be, that's part of the agreement, will be allotted to us so that our processing plant and stuff like that will be located at that unit. Not also the processing plant for honey, but we will also be selling our supplies, and everything will be done at that area.
So you'll be buying bulk and then...
Yes, the intention is to buy bulk honey from the farmers. For want of a better expression, those of us who were born on the farmers before, we knew of everyone selling when banana day. People have time for nothing but just to go and harvest the bananas and sell to the SLBGA and stuff like that. We are trying to emulate that same pattern where Mille Fleur will be buying honey from our farmers in bulk, process, and be responsible for sales and marketing, distribution, and that kind of stuff.
Okay. All right, hold the point there. You are watching Agriculture on the Move. We are due for a break. Stay tuned. Back soon.
Do you know what a GMO is?
It's genetically modified organism.
It's a genetically modified organism.
That's absolutely right. A GMO is a plant or animal organism which contains genes taken from a different plant or animal to create a set of desired characteristics. For example, a gene taken from a fish and infused in the cellular membrane of a tomato to create a frost-resistant tomato. The technology is designed to improve the quality of agricultural produce for consumption, but its long-term effects are not known. Join the Ministries of Agriculture and Sustainable Development in implementing the National Biosafety Framework, aimed at providing information on GMOs and LMOs in ensuring that they are used, handled, and transported in a manner that is safe to the environment and human health.
Welcome back to the program, Agriculture on the Move. We are discussing honey production. I guess, Mr. Edward, I just want to find out, for example, to facilitate your members, in terms of material, are you hoping to buy material in bulk?
Yes, that is the intention. For example, we just came out of a honey flow and we are preparing for the next one. And so far, when we strategized, we realized that we would be needing somewhere in the region of $80,000 worth of material. But again, as a young cooperative, we were not able to meet that. So we had to split in 3 sections. And whereas we were looking at probably capitalizing on the economy of scale as terms of the large amounts that you buy, we now had to split our supplies into 3 smaller units. So instead of ordering once a year, we now have to order 3 different times of the year just to meet the demand. The increase of farmers, like Brother Marcus just said a while ago.
The interest of your members, I mean, are they a bit? Do they see the need to, increase their hives? Are they, satisfied with what's really happening, in the organization?
Well, in any organization, you're going to find persons that are very much interested in what's going on, and there are those that you have to take by the hand. For example, we had our general meeting last week, Thursday. And what I was bringing to the general public or the general membership is that we have to begin to look at ourselves as commercial beekeepers. And in my opinion, I want them to understand that if you're looking at yourself in that aspect, because of the processing unit that we're going to be facilitating the buying of bulk honey, you should be aiming at least for 100 hives per person. Some persons might be of a different opinion, but that is just my view on where I would like to see it happen. If we have persons with at least 100 and they fall short of production, and someone might say 60 is the right number and they fall short, we will still be able to facilitate the processing unit. You understand what I'm saying?
Okay.
Sometimes you need 10 people for a particular job, but you have to interview 20. And that is the view there.
Okay.
Right.
Marcus, in terms of technical information being passed on to beekeepers, say for example, somebody who is new and want to go into honey production, in terms of the cost of getting hives, or what's the minimum hives and what's the cost to get into this, and are there any problems to see, for example, from the lending institutions to assist those farmers?
Well, I mean, in terms of problem from the lending institution, agriculture has been with the banks. Agriculture have not been an area where institutions readily want to lend. But with honey production, based on the cost on your profits, I believe the banks are presently viewing it differently.
Okay.
So young persons go out there and try to get financed. But what I advise young persons or persons to do is to start with a minimum number, like about 5 hives. Get the feeling, get the know-how to manage, and then if you want to increase, then you look for that additional finance to increase.
In terms of additional technical knowledge, do you source any additional assistance from outside other organizations assisting you all?
Well, yes. ICA in the past have assisted us tremendously by facilitating inspectors to come in to do a disease surveillance in bees.
Okay.
But now they no longer do that.
Okay.
Although in speaking with them, we have highlighted a few areas, and that areas we included in the whole synopsis of how ICA can assist us by providing those inspectors.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But let me say also that though Brother Marcus highlighted specific area of disease management that ICA has assisted in the past, at present ICA is in the process of assisting Mille in bringing to St. Lucia an individual that is trained in queen wearing, and they will be assisting us in whatever area that we need to add to that as well. Because a few weeks ago we were speaking about that with Mr. Denis, and it is in the process that they're going to assist us in whatever area that we ask for assistance. So they're continuing to be there with us.
There's a new program that you, which is the tree planting program that I think you really want to emphasize now.
Right.
Can you tell us about that program? What are the objectives of that program?
Well, like I said, when I became president, I found a project already in motion. And the project dealt with a number of questions that you asked a while ago. For example, like the training of new beekeepers, giving them 5 hives to start up with, and those beekeepers, after a year process, maybe a year time, or maybe a year and a half, 2 years, they will use that same 5 hives that was given to them. They will also give it back to other new beekeepers. So you have a chain reaction coming. There is also what we call a mentorship program, also part of that project. We now have the tree planting aspect of that same project. For example, during Thomas and even the Christmas Eve trough, a lot of damage has done to the surface of our geography, and land slippages and stuff like that. And you would know for a fact that bees don't survive on soil; they survive on vegetation and foraging. So they need to be plants around so that they could pollinate and stuff like that. So most of the areas where we have had land slippages, we are looking at planting trees so that area can be stabilized, and then we could have more foraging capacity for the production of honey.
Have you all carried a survey, to know exactly the areas that are identified for reforestation?
We have not done it, but we are in the process of doing it. For example, last month I was on DBS speaking to people, those persons or even beekeepers for that matter, that within a 5-mile radius of your hive, we are not just remaining there, but we're starting there within a 5-mile radius of the hive. And then you should know your surroundings where you have land slippages and stuff like that. We are also working in collaboration with the Forestry Department, which is the Ministry of Sustainable. We are working with them, and we are about to hit the ground. So persons with that kind of information could reach me at 4885688, Mr. Marcus, yourself, any one of us that you could reach within the Ministry of Agriculture, and let us know that you have that problem, and we will come to your area, we will assess the area, and then make a decision as to what is the best plant for the area. Some beekeepers say that they're interested in plants that are flowering, but a particular plant that is flowering might not be the best for stabilizing the soil. Okay, so with the assistance of the Ministry of Forestry, the department, also the engineering department of the Ministry of Agriculture, I spoke to Mr. Monero last week, and though he might not be able to be with us on the ground all of the time, but if we have any problem that is beyond us, as far as the engineering, the stabilizing of the soil, he has already been sourced to be able to assist us.
So, Marcus.
I just want to add, not only stabilization of soils we're looking at. We have also lost a lot of bee pasture in the past due to spraying. People use a lot of weedicides due to even that weed eater to weed and land clearing. And most of that needed pasture has been slowly destroyed. So what we want to do also is to look at plants that will provide not only for honey production in the honey flow, but the off season, because the off season is the most crucial time for the bee. There is not many flowers. As you can see, now you don't even see many of the natural little shrubs that used to produce flowers. So in essence, we need to repopulate areas with this kind of flowering plants.
So have you all agreed on the various species with forestry as to where they are environmentally friendly to be grown?
We haven't really agreed with forestry, but what we ask our beekeepers to do is to provide a list of flowers they know that usually flower many times a year. Mm-hmm. And they would pass that list to us, and then we would take that list and discuss it with forestry, mm-hmm. and to see how best we can get the right types of plants, mm-hmm. that we can use. Okay. Also, we have to look at different areas, might have different...
Hold that point, moving fast and furious. You are watching Agriculture on the Move. We are due for a break. Stay tuned.
Did you know that government provides duty-free incentives on farm machinery, inputs, irrigation systems, boat engines, boats, and many more? Investing in agriculture, a wise choice.
Welcome back to the program, Agriculture on the Move. Marcus, you're talking about specific plants for various locale because of the flowering time of the year. Because I'm sure you're looking for plants that will have flowers throughout the year, or to flower throughout the year, so that your bees can forage constantly.
Yes. Presently, we don't have a problem in the nectar flow in terms of having... We have many plants that will produce nectar within the nectar flow. Mm-hmm. Our biggest one of the major concerns is after the nectar flow.
Okay.
You find that after the nectar flow, you find very little food for the bees, mm-hmm. for the survival. Mm-hmm. One of the plants we try to look at plants like a lot of palms. Mm-hmm. Palms usually flower year round.
Okay.
We look at also dual purpose plants. We have to look at plants like dungs.
Like tree crops.
Yeah, like tree crops. Mm-hmm. Dungs, carambola, these things usually flower many times. Mm-hmm. And that would be a dual plant for the farmer. So you can actually get something from it. And also it will benefit the bees.
Okay. So so this program, where is it now? I mean, in terms of, have you identified the plants? Have you worked in forestry? Is that program taking off already? Is it still in the educational stage? Where is it at this point?
We would like to have been in the implementer stage, mm-hmm. but at present we are trying to do all at the same time, gather information and begin to implement. Because like I said, we have up until December 2014 to complete the project. We spoke to the coordinator of the JEF program last week, and he advised that if we may not have enough time, mm-hmm. then we could apply for more. Mm-hmm. But from where I'm standing or sitting, I would really like to complete this program by December 2014, mm-hmm. December 2014. Mm-hmm. I must say that there are a number of plants that we have highlighted. There is a member of the cooperative by the name of Laura Jean-Pierre, better known as Jomo. Mm-hmm. He is a plant specialist, and at present he is preparing a list of plants that are favorable towards the bees. Mm-hmm. For example, we have a number of charcoal producers in St. Lucia. Mm-hmm. And charcoal, anyone that is into charcoal production tell you Capeche is the best for charcoal production. Mm-hmm. But Capeche is also a very good producer of nectar for the bees whenever it flowers. Mm-hmm. So we had a discussion with forestry, and we are beginning to look at Lucina, mm-hmm. Which is also a good plant for charcoal as well. Okay? So charcoal farmers would no longer, while I try to discourage them from using the logwood, mm-hmm. you will also be producing something which is just as capable for them. Okay?
All right.
Yeah.
How many farm beekeepers that you have on island?
At present, we have about between 180 to 200 persons.
Okay.
Keep bees.
Mm-hmm.
Presently.
But you do not have, say, you have more part-time than full-time farmers?
Yes, definitely. We can say about 90% of them are part-time.
Okay.
Only about 10% will be above.
And there's a reason for that, of course, because the attention is not required.
Yeah, because you see, bees do not require that attention every day. Like you have chickens or you have a cow to tie every day. From the ministry standpoint, we ask people to visit the hives about once every 2 weeks. Although you find you'll have other things to do, even if you're not visiting the hive, you'll find maybe you might have bottled honey, and these kind of things. Prepare your frames on. So generally, somebody that's running about, let's say, because our average number of hives per person will be about, say, 40 to 50. Somebody running about 40 to 50 hives would only spend about 3 days a week in honey production. So you find that person can always do something else.
How easy is to access material? For example, if you newcomer wants to get into beekeeping, how easy can he get his boxes, his frames, his other gear for beekeeping?
Well, with Mille is one of the major suppliers of bee equipment. And usually Mille would have an idea of what's required. So, as Mr. Edward mentioned early on, they realized that they would require about $80,000 of material for the next season. So it's pretty accessible. Also, we have National Beekeepers Association
Yes.
that also provides materials to beekeepers. So it's very accessible.
How different is this to Mille? Why is it a national?
Well, just like the bees like to divide, it looked like the beekeepers learned something about the bee swarming and dividing. At one time, there was just Mille. But because that attitude of individuals wanting to do things their own way, so the division came about. And one section called themselves National Beekeepers, and the other section maintained the Mille name.
Okay, okay. But do you all interact?
Well, not on the management level. As the new president, I would like to bring this unit back together.
Okay, great.
Just like, for example, you have a hive swarming, and if you catch the swarm and you could kill the queens that swarm, or you could reunite the hive.
Okay.
And that is my intention as far as Mille and the National Beekeepers Association, to bring us back together.
Okay.
At present, the cooperative department is trying to bring all cooperatives together.
That's right, yes.
So I don't see the need for two beekeepers organization in St. Lucia.
Okay. Final words from you, sir?
Well, final words. I believe there is good scope for honey production in St. Lucia. We have enough forage that we can have maybe anything like about 100,000 hives on island.
Okay.
And we only have about 4,000 hives.
Okay, great.
So there is a lot of scope.
Final words from you, sir?
Well, my final words may just be more than what I have already said, because there's so much to say. Anyway, like Marcus said, with this facility being implemented or being set up in St. Lucia, our production is within the area of 32,000 gallons of honey. Okay. And that is just a tip in the bucket, a drop in the bucket as to the capacity of the facility. Okay. The way that we could really do what we have to do is to increase. Okay. And you have individuals assisting us in the increasing. We're getting support from SSDF. Okay. They have already trained some persons, and they just brought to...
I'll have to stop you there because we go to the end. Well, until next time. But I'd like to thank you for being here. I wish you success. I hope you all are able to get your replanting program on stream before the ending of the year. So thank you again, Marcus. Thank you again, Mr. Edward.
Thank you very much.
You've been watching Agriculture on the Move. I would like to thank you for viewing and continue to view this program. And remember, eat fresh, St. Lucia's best. I am Phillip Sydney saying goodbye and God bless.
Agriculture on the Move.
Agricole en mouvement.
Agriculture on the Move.
Agricole en mouvement.
Agriculture on the Move.
Agricole en mouvement.
Agriculture on the Move.
Agricole en mouvement.